Roki Sasaki updates last night that were coming down. All right, for those who don't know who Roki Sasaki is and why there's been so much chatter around this Japanese star, right-handed pitcher. Here is the latest on Roki Sasaki. And I'm gonna play out a scenario of why he would sign with the Dodgers and why he would sign with the Padres and why he won't sign with the Toronto Blue Jays, because it seems like the Blue Jays are in every conversation and never do they ever sign anybody. Okay, so let me just kind of give the absolute latest here. First off, here's why Roki Sasaki is such a big deal and why you've heard his name 180 times in the offseason. 23-year-old. He's supposed to be the next star. Is supposed to be as good as anybody in Major League Baseball. He's a big dude too, so it's not like you kind of see the frame of a lot of these Japanese players, and Shohei Ohtani just changed the whole thing. It's like, where the hell did this guy? This guy was made in a lab. Roki's got a little bit of that as well. But what makes Roki Sasaki such a big story around Major League Baseball is this isn't coming down to money. This is just going to come down to his preference. Where does he want to play? Not only is he, got the potential of being the best pitcher in baseball, but on top of that, he's only going to cost you a couple $1 million. So any team's got a shot at him. One of the advantages that these big market teams have, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets, the Boston Red Sox, is they can outbid you for a lot of these players. We saw that with Juan Soto, right? Juan Soto wasn't open to all of Major League Baseball. Juan Soto was only open to a couple teams, and who was going to bid the most? What did those numbers look like? This is what makes Roki Sasaki so much different. What makes him so much different is not only could he potentially be the best pitcher in baseball, you're going to have him for 6 years, and he's under control for 3 years. You're really getting arguably one of the best pitchers at just a price that doesn't make any sense. Last night, a story came out. Sources. This is Jeff Passan that put this out on ESPN. Dodgers, Padres, Blue Jays are finalists for Roki Sasaki. So it is down to 3. You kind of saw this on X yesterday throughout the day. You saw that the New York Yankees have been, informed that Roki Sasaki is not going to. The Mets, the Cubs, the Giants, and the Texas Rangers, all these teams were informed last night or at some point yesterday that Roki Sasaki is not going to represent their team. So here we are. We're down to 3. Okay. Let me do this. Let me make some cases here let me just start off with Toronto. All right. I don't think he's going to the Toronto Blue Jays. I think everyone would be shocked if he goes to the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm going to read a couple things from this article. The Blue Jays being the third team stunned front offices around the game. Toronto is coming off a last place finish to the American League East, has a below average farm system, has not come to terms on a contract extension with its foundational player, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and has been churned down by a number of high-profile free agents from Ohtani, Juan Soto, and Corbin Burns, just to name a few of them. Nevertheless, Toronto emerged from its meeting with Sasaki confident and hopeful, sources said, that is one of the biggest baseball decisions in recent memory approaches. The feelings are reciprocated. Okay, maybe Toronto comes out of nowhere, but doesn't this also feel like the Toronto Blue Jays are going to be the team that's mentioned, that get excited, and then are left at the altar asking themselves, what the hell just happened? Probably feels that way. Unless Roki Sasaki throws a complete curveball to everybody and just says, you know what, I'm going to go to Toronto because the attention that comes to me when I'm literally can just slowly develop into the player that I want to be. Here's the reality too. Shohei didn't pick a big market when he came in. Shohei went to the Angels. Shohei got plenty of time to be the star, have the spotlight, and developed until he became a free agent and asked for $700 million and got it. And then went to, obviously the second largest market in the country. So maybe, but I don't think that's going to happen. Let me make a case here for the Dodgers. Let me make a case here for the Padres. Why he signs with the Dodgers. Why he signs, Roki Sasaki is going to make a decision probably within the next week here. I know he's got to make a decision by January 23rd. Why he signs with the Dodgers. I think there are some obvious reasons why he signs there. Okay. Momentum is on the Dodgers side. They're coming off a World Series. They've had arguably, no, I don't think you can argue this. They've had the most impressive offseason 2 years in a row. Last year, they obviously signed Shohei Ohtani. They ended up with Tyler Glass now as well. They signed Yoshinobu Yamamoto to $325 million, the richest contract in baseball history for a pitcher. Teoscar Hernandez. I mean, what more can you ask for? And a lot of these players weren't necessarily available towards the postseason, and they still won a World Series. Okay. They are right now the team everybody's chasing, and it's not even close. So if Roki Sasaki joined the Dodgers, in my opinion, it's just kind of like, well, yeah, that's probably where he was going to go anyways. Okay. Why else would he join the Dodgers? A, you have, like I mentioned, the ability to win. B, you got Shohei and Yoshinobu Yamamoto who are already there. Two players that can easily kind of ease him into Major League Baseball. And I think there's going to be a little bit of all those guys are going to be getting a lot of the attention, including Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts, that he's going to get attention, but it's not like all the attention is just on him the entire time. All right. One other thing that I'll say of another reason why he would sign with the Dodgers. I know part of his development that he's looking for as well. They're probably going to use a 6-man rotation, and they're not going to be dependent on Roki Sasaki to go win a World Series or go compete for a World Series. Those are pretty strong reasons why he would sign with the Dodgers. All right, why would he sign with the San Diego Padres? I think we're going to find out a lot about what Roki's intentions are based on his decision. Is there part of Roki that says, I'm always going to be in the shadow of Shohei Ohtani. Let me just kind of create my own thing. Let me be with a team and a franchise where I'm the guy. I know he's got his relationship with Yu Darvish. I know he's got his relationship with Hideo Nomo, who's part of the front office of the San Diego Padres. Let me not be in the shadow of already the biggest guy in sports. Let me have my own franchise. By the way, this franchise is also 2 hours away from LA. They went 3 of the last 5 years you've played against that team. Is Roki Sasaki, does he want to join the best, or does he want to go up against the best? That would be probably the only angle that I would say he joins the Padres. Personal reasons, personal relationships, and everybody's already joined the Dodgers. Let me get my own shine. Let me kind of do my own thing. They won a World Series without Roki. So winning another World Series, you're not going to say, well, they won it because of Roki. Not that he can't have major impact in it, but I'm saying that they've already won it all. Okay, if the Padres got to a World Series or won a World Series, the franchise never won a World Series. So that one would obviously be so significant for the city. If you had to ask me, and I've said this from the beginning, where do I think he signs? I feel like he signs with the Dodgers. That's what I feel like. But part of that also has to do with there's been just this crazy momentum towards the Dodgers that I don't know how that momentum is going to stop. And Roki Sasaki could very easily just be another player that's added to a franchise that doesn't even need him. It's a luxury. It's not a necessity. For every other team out there in Major League Baseball, it's a necessity. I'll use the Padres as an example. If they don't get Roki Sasaki, I have no idea how they're going to compete next year. Even with Roki Sasaki, there's no guarantee that they're going to compete. They got to figure out their contract with Michael King. Is Dylan Cease going to be around? Luis Ariz, are they trading him? Are they keeping him? Jurickson Profar, what kind of money are you going to give him? There's a lot of things that the Dodgers have done in the offseason to separate themselves, not just from the Padres, but from all of Major League Baseball. The Diamondbacks got better in the offseason. So there's a lot of question marks, but that's the latest on Roki Sasaki. And I'll go back to what I just said. If you said, you guys know my stance, you guys know where I am in this. I'm a Padres fan. But I've said this from the beginning. To me, the news about Roki Sasaki is only if he doesn't sign with the Dodgers. It's not news to me if he signs with the Dodgers, because I think that's always been expected. It doesn't mean that you can't get close. It doesn't mean that other teams wouldn't be interested. But at the end of the day, nobody cares about, well, he really liked this team, but he didn't sign with them. Because I tell you who doesn't care about that now: the Cubs, the Giants, the Yankees. Go down the list of all these other teams. All right, let's read a few of these comments here. Craig, Padres can't even get a decent TV. Can I tell you something about that? There is such a disparity right now in Major League Baseball. And it's not just the Padres. There's a lot of teams that had these deals with, I think it was Bally's, which is the Diamond Sports Group, and everything else. There is such a disparity right now in baseball between the teams that are rolling and the teams that are not. They got to figure something out. You got to have somewhat of an equal playing field here. And am I talking for a smaller market? Sure, I am. But I think it's safe to say you want to make sure that when you walk into a season in whatever sport it is and whatever team you're rooting for, are we sort of at an equal playing field? And right now, that's not the case. So Major League Baseball has got a lot to figure out, not just for the Padres, but for a lot of these teams that don't have local deals. All right, let's see what we got here. Dodgers are a Japan team. I can't argue that. They may very well be. And maybe Roki Sasaki is literally just another player that's going to add to the mix. And we might be looking at the Dodgers for the next 5, 7, 8, 10 years, whatever the case is, where it's like, yeah, the best players from Japan just go there. All right. Padres will be Sasaki's team. If he joins them with Dodgers, he's the third best. Yeah, listen, I'm hoping. Let me tell you guys a quick little story on this, because this happened last year. I thought when Shohei signed with the Dodgers, I was like, I don't know if Yamamoto's going to sign there. I'm like, why wouldn't Yamamoto? Isn't this guy just going to go to New York? Isn't he going to go to Boston? Isn't he going to go to Chicago and just say, okay, Shohei, you got the full complete spotlight in LA. I'm going to go get the spotlight in New York. I'm going to be the main guy, the endorsements, everything else. So you go own the West Coast. I'm going to go own the East Coast, or I'm going to go own the Midwest, or something along those lines. Where did Yamamoto end up going? He went to the Dodgers. So I thought last year there was going to be some of that might come into play, and it wasn't the case. What ended up happening is Yamamoto signed with the Dodgers and still got his $325 million. And frankly, he was in the shadow of Shohei Ohtani, and I don't think that bothered him at all. So I guess the question's going to be, is that important to Roki or not? I've said this before. I mentioned that we're going to find out a lot about Roki, because if Roki signs with the Dodgers, it's no, I just want to be on the best team. There's two guys that I'm very familiar with. The Dodgers organization obviously clearly knows what they're doing, and I'll take my chances here. And if I win a couple World Series, awesome. We'll roll with that. Or if he just said, no, I want to join a different team, then I think you're looking at Roki Sasaki and you're saying, okay, this guy would prefer, his mindset is different than what Yamamoto's was, or one of these other free agents that joined the Dodgers. All right, let's see what we got here. Blue Jays have a better shot than the Padres. All right, we'll see. We'll see. I will say this. From the beginning, the Padres were always in the mix. But being in the mix doesn't mean shit. You either got the guy or you didn't get the guy. If he signed with the Dodgers, when being in the mix doesn't mean anything, it's actually even worse. I'd rather not be in the mix at all than it comes down to the wire and it's like, we went with somebody else. Our Padres have pretty good chance to be a Padre. It all depends on upcoming Dodgers second presentation. I don't know, man. I think for me, I feel like that I don't know what to tell you. I feel like at the end of the day, he's probably going to end up signing with the Dodgers. That's how I feel. So let's see what happens here. All right, if you enjoyed this clip and you want more, just subscribe to the channel. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. is the Sliwa Show. And then after every Lakers game, post-game show right here.